Welcome back to Book Bree and Novel Nest. I'm Bree, your neighborhood romance girly, and today the question we're putting on the table is Emily Henry becoming the next Nora Ephron?
I beg your pardon?
You're probably saying, Bree, how dare you? I can't believe how scandalous. Why? Scandalous. I learned from the best.
It's handled.
I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing. We all know that Nora Ephron is a legend. Nora Ephron walked so that Emily Henry could run.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now, come on now.
Let's just put respect on Nora Ephron's name right now, okay? Because the classics. Before we spill the tea on this, we're friends here. So feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd be glad to have you here. And let's get into the video, shall we?
I'm under so much pressure. I just can't even.
If you don't know a lot about Nora Ephron, first of all, okay, we need to establish that because Nora Ephron, so amazing, so legendary. So let's talk about that first. Nora Ephron was an amazing journalist and writer and most well known for movies like When Harry Met Sally. Okay, but you've heard that one before. You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle. This made up the 90s pretty much. And she also kept Meg Ryan booked and busy because all those three films right there, Meg Ryan. She was making her coin, and so was Noras. She made a name for herself. Like, everybody wanted that romantic comedy love story in the 90s, and to this day, legendary. So how did she get her start? Nora started actually by writing screenplays in the late 80s, and then when it came to the 90s, there it was a market for romantic comedies because in previous years, in the 80s, we'd had high school romance. And those most notably were Say Anything. Okay, remember the one with the boombox? Okay, oh, did you not know that? Or is that a spoiler? I don't know. Can't Buy Me Love, Mr. McDreamy, 16 Candles, and Pretty in Pink. So a lot of that was high school romance, and I think for audiences, I can't speak for them, but my theory is they were like, you know what? We are kind of done with the high school romance. It was cute. We loved it. It was classic. We were living, we were vibing. But then what about life after high school? Going to college and then after college, and what does this mean for people that are dating in their 20s, 30s, 40s? I feel like Nora Ephron was like, you know what? I know my stuff. I know romance, and I'm gonna write it, and I'm going to do it for the people that are in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, and I'm gonna write it for them. And I thank her so much to this day.
You know, I guess one person can make a difference.
But I know you came here for the comparison, but for Nora Ephron and Emily Henry. We're getting there. Let's talk about the style of Nora Ephron and her writing. So pretty much in, your Sleepless in Seattle's and When Harry Met Sally and You've Got Mail, it almost feels like you're entering a little bit of like a mixture of the past and present. And it's because a lot of the themes and inspiration that she got was from the 50s. For example, in Sleepless in Seattle, I don't want to spoil it, so if you haven't seen it, please click off the video now and then come back. In Sleepless in Seattle, they reference An Affair to Remember so many times, to the point where I'm like, I need to watch An Affair to Remember because this is pretty much a very important part of this story. A lot of these elements, these classic, very whimsical, swoon-worthy type romance that she placed and updated it for the 90s. The fashion, women now being more in the workforce, they're changing cultural norms. And I think this gravitated to a lot of audiences because it finally had something that they could connect with in their real everyday life. But they had the fantasy from the romances they fell in love with from the 50s. Winter must be cold for those with no warm memories. And everybody was eating it up. They were like, okay, just get this one after the other. After When Harry Met Sally, they went crazy for that, so let's give us Sleepless in Seattle. Once they went crazy for that, give us You've Got Mail. I mean, it was just like non-stop. They were making that coin. What I love about Nora Ephron's projects is that they're so multifaceted, that they're breaking social norms of both men and women. If you see in Nora Ephron's projects, men are showing emotion. They were just being human. And feel free in the comments down below and let me know what are some of your favorite Nora Ephron movies, characters, and why. Since we talked about Nora Ephron's incredible works of the late 80s and early 90s, she went on to do some incredible books and plays, and just the writing was impeccable. Now, people are still looking for that same type of magic in that writing today. So that brings up Emily Henry. Emily Henry started out by writing a young adult novel in 2016. And then about 4 years later, Beach Read. And people couldn't stop talking about this book non-stop. If you were on BookTube or you're looking through BookTube, everybody was talking about this book. And it wasn't until recently, I believe I read this in April, and then later on, of course, I got book lovers. But let's start out with the Beach Read because of the phenomena this came to be. So we have two people that used to be college rivals that arrived in the same place after it's been some time in North Bear Shores. They're both writers and they have writer's block.
You can't teach people how to write.
Not true.
And I say that as a writer.
Also not
writing.
We have Augustus has a beach house, and then January staying in the beach house right next to him. In order to break this writer's block, they decide to make a deal that they're going to swap their prospective genres. So Gus is going to write romance, and that January is going to write literary fiction.
They do say love makes you do strange things.
And of course, if you're gonna write in another genre, you need to do some research, and they become research buddies, and the story goes from there. So if you have read this, feel free to let me know, or if you're interested in reading this, okay, so we can talk in the comments down below. Also, am I continuing the campaign for Ayu Edebiri and Paul Mescal to play January and Gus for Beach Read? Yes. Yes, I am. Because it's 2025 and anything is possible. Come on, we gotta do this. Emily, if you're watching, please. Let's call up the people, okay? Let's just make it happen.
I'm sorry, honey.
How is Emily Henry similar to Nora Ephron? Nora Ephron wrote When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally starts off in the late 70s. So we have these two college kids take a road trip from Chicago to New York. This place right after college for them. While on the road trip, they pose the question, can women and men be friends? So they disagree and they go on their separate ways. But what happens later, they meet up in the same area after some time, except it's been a longer time for them. They meet 10 years later at a bookstore. They pose the same question and they resume their friendship, and then the story goes on from there. So now you begin to see some of the similarities between Nora Ephron and Emily Henry, where you have multifaceted characters.
I loathe you.
I loathe you.
Big romantic gestures.
You and me.
You and me.
And then it's honest, authentic, and relatable.
Not in the mood today. Don't really feel like being yelled at, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead and leave, because right now I'm feeling very fragile.
This is where Emily Henry and Nora Ephron share these strong similarities. But how do they differ? Let's talk about it. So Nora Ephron focused on the lighthearted and whimsical nature of life and romance, while Emily Henry focuses on the light and dark themes of life and romance. So when I read this, I was prepared because I had wonderful people warning me about the dark themes in this book. Thank you so much. But when I did read it, I was like, okay, Yeah, we're going there. Okay, looking at the cover, okay, this is why you don't judge a book by its cover. You're like, oh, look how sweet, a romance at the beach. However, it does have a beautiful balance between dark and light themes. It felt like it's not Star Wars in any way, okay, there's no sci-fi in here. It would make sense why audiences would gravitate towards this type of romance because of all the ups and downs that we see through the times that we're living in. How do we deal with all that's going on? How do we become open and talk and get better at communication with one another and build stronger connections? And then the last difference would be their perspectives. Nora Ephron mainly focused on the perspectives of men and women, while Emily Henry focuses on the women's perspective. So in the 90s, we were trying to break down some of the stereotypes between men and women. And now in the 2020s, with Emily Henry's books by telling the women's perspective, we're carrying on that legacy of Nora Ephron. It's more than the romance, it's also about dreams and careers and family and friends. There's so much more to romance than the love story. It's about everything. This is a big topic and I feel like we only scratched the surface. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd be glad to talk to you. And I hope you have a comfy and cozy rest of your day.